All right. Good evening, everybody. Good evening, and welcome to Wine and Wisdom. I am Dr. Carlia East, and we are here to sip, savor, and elevate our minds. I am super excited about tonight's meeting because we're talking about toxic relationships, y'all. And what we're not going to do is keep staying in this shit when it's unhealthy and it's not good for us. Can I take a sip on that? Hmm. Wait a minute. I got to take another sip on that because this damn pink Moscato got me feeling some type of way tonight. Let's do one more. Hmm. Yes, baby, two for the road. Like I said, I am Dr. East. I have been elevating resilience in women for over 20 years, helping to inspire them to conquer all that is important and embrace themselves and especially thrive through divorce, because that's what we're here to do, right, ladies? It's okay about being single, separated, never dated. It don't matter. It's about us finding our space and being comfortable in that space no matter when and how we get there, and recognizing that freedom is the most beautiful tasting fruit on this planet. And I am happy to be walking and marching and running to my freedom, and I'm gonna help y'all do the same thing. Now, if anything that I say tonight resonates with you, I want you to jump on my Thrive Through Divorce call. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Stop delaying. Y'all know y'all need to talk to your girl about how to get past those hurdles, how to get unstuck, how to feel more comfortable in your space, how not to fear, how not to be afraid, how to have better financial control over your lives. This is what I'm talking about. We are too high class and cute to be around here bitter and stuck in bondage. Do y'all hear me? So go ahead and make the call. I'm going to put the link in the comments so that you guys can vibe with me and we can figure out how to get us unstuck and to find our pathway to freedom. So I have been, like I said, serving women for over 20 years, helping them to understand their power. I am unapologetic. I'm a psychotherapist, a coach, all of those things. But more than that, I am a divorcee twice. I had to do it two times, right? And there's no shame in that. There's actually lessons to be learned, standards that I need to raise, and expectations that I have to set, right? And so tonight, we are going to focus on, excuse me, Emma. Now, Emma is dealing with a whole lot of stuff in her toxic relationship. She and her husband have been married for about 7 years at this point, absolutely in love with who she is and absolutely in love with her relationship. However, she's beginning to feel a little bitter, a little resentment, and this is why. Mark and her have been going through their things, but he has a certain way that he likes things to go, right? Things have to be in a certain place, in a certain order, and all of that. And within that process comes her feelings, right? Her feelings of, am I measuring up? Am I meeting his expectations? And so as time and years begin to evolve and turn, Mark's expectations tend to get a little bit more critical, right? He tends to scrutinize a little bit more by judging what she may be wearing. Little subtle things like, are you sure you want to wear that to work? Things like that. Do you think that's really appropriate? Or why don't you wear the red one? You don't like the red one? Those types of things, to the point where Emma started to feel like, okay, is this what I wear to work? Do I want to wear the red one? Am I not able to make declarative decisions about how I dress anymore? But then it became to be more punitive. First, it was about her clothing, and then it was about her hair, and then it was about the way that she spoke or the way that she walked. And it was all of these different things became increasingly controlling her. He would criticize her appearance, isolate her from her friends. Literally, she would make plans to go hang out. He'd be like, cool, go hang out, do your thing. As soon as she gets out, he's calling, what are you doing? I miss you. Don't you think we ought to spend time together? Can't you cut your lunch date short? Can't you tell your sister and your girlfriends that you'll see them later? Isn't home more important? Isn't family more important? When she wanted to go out and do things and have activities with her girlfriends, he would give her the guilt trip of, you're not being responsible. You're being disrespectful towards the family. Isn't this something that you want? Isn't our family something that you need? When I tell y'all that this gaslighting, right, and mind tripping shit that happens in relationships, and let me be very, very clear. I'm using an example of a man and woman, but it can be woman on woman, man on man, and also the woman can be the one doing it to the man, but that's not what my expertise is in, okay? So I'm gonna focus on us women and how we are mishandled by other men and women, okay? So it became a point where she began to realize that her relationship was absolutely toxic. She hadn't seen her friends in weeks. She would begin to approach him with eggshell like steps. Is it okay for me to ask? And this is the point. Y'all hear what I just said? Is it okay for me to ask? That's the point I want to focus on. When you feel like you are needing to ask someone for permission, there's a problem there. When you feel like you don't have the automatic respect in your marriage and relationship to move and flow as you should, there's a problem there. See, I'm a firm believer in running things by you, giving you a heads up, letting you know what's going on. So then we can make an informed decision. Then, if there's a place that you feel that you don't want me to be because it's unsafe, or because you heard it some, ridiculous shenanigans going on, or maybe you have plans for us that I don't know about, then let's have that conversation. But what we're not going to do is me feel like I need to ask you for permission to be me. For me to feel like I need to ask you for permission to move and navigate with the people that I was moving and navigating with before I met you, darling. For me to ask you for permission to do basic things of humanity, such as be a well-rounded individual, go to plays, go to see the art, go to spend time with my friends. Those are things that are natural and normal for any healthy relationship. And guess what, Mark? You should be out doing your thing too. I need you to find some type of pool group and go shoot some pool. Okay, I'm gonna need you to go find some type of Fortnite game and go get your game on. Go find you some high NFL, something, and go find something to do as well. But the controlling tactics can't be something that we allow ourselves to stay in, ladies. We can't allow ourselves to stay in these toxic relationships where individuals are using what they think their power is to control us and to manifest what they want us to do. That's not the way that we need to be operating, and that's not the way that we have to operate. In order for us to recognize our worth and value, we have to be willing to let go of people, places, and things that aren't harvesting and aren't harnessing that energy for us. And if they are unable to do that, then we have to set boundaries for them. And if they're unable to respect those boundaries, then we have to exit stage left. Because if you stay in a toxic situation, you become the toxic person. You become the toxic woman. You become the bitter Betty with an attitude that doesn't know how to go out and find friends, that doesn't remember who she was last, that can't even think about what her next steps are, because she has engulfed her whole life, her whole fixation to this relationship, and has been trained to believe that her even choosing to take 5 minutes for herself, for her to take a walk on the beach, for her to want to spend a day alone, that's being selfish. No, darling, that's self-care. And what you have is a person who's trying to control you. What you have is a person that may have some narcissistic tendencies that are trying to take over you. What you have is a person that may be intimidated by your strength. So therefore, when you try to walk and move in the way that you should, they can't handle it. So they go try to lasso you and stop you. Lord have mercy. Let me get a sip on that one. Not speaking from experience, but I'm speaking from experience. Y'all understand what I'm saying? So what does Emma need to do? I'm going to give y'all the nugget. Emma needs to go back to before she met Mark. That's what I said. Emma needs to go back to before she met Mark. See, sometimes when we lose that woman inside of us that we love so much, and we're trying to figure out where the hell she went, and we're trying to figure out when the last time I baked that, when the last time I went there, when the last time I called that person. You know why? Because you left them. See, Emma left Emma when she got with Mark. Emma thought that because two became one, she had to all of a sudden divide herself in half and leave that half in the past and only bring the other half that Mark liked. That's where Emma messed up. Let me tell y'all something. A union of two people is two people, but you know what it is? Two individuals coming together for one common purpose. It's not two individuals blending, which is why we have two different heartbeats and two different sets of lungs. And so when you find yourself not knowing who the hell you are in your marriage, in your relationships, when I tell you, ladies, go back to the person that you were before you got into that relationship and discover where she is. Where did she go? What were the things that she used to love to do, the foods that she loved to taste, the dances that she loved to perform? Where are those? And why isn't she dancing, eating, listening, and enjoying today? Because none of those are sinful. None of those should cause a divorce. None of those should cause someone to bring up the word divorce or to feel like you're not being a mom or you're not being a wife. None of that qualifies as anything but being a well-rounded individual and a strong, powerful person, which should be more attractive because now you stand up on your own 2 feet and you don't have to stand on his shoulders. Do y'all understand what I'm saying? Take that nugget. Now listen, if y'all felt what I was giving you, some of y'all living in these relationships where you're being criticized into submission, right? And you're in these toxic dynamics where your head is being played with, okay? And you're being gaslit all the time. You're constantly being told you're not woman enough, you're not beautiful enough, you're not mom enough because you want to go out and enjoy, I'm telling y'all, I can help you release those chains and start breaking free from that. You need to step on a call with me. Let's vibe. Let's have a whole situationship with each other so we can get that toxicity out of your brain. And so you're able to speak it and spit it out and be clear about who you are, whose you are, and what you are not going to tolerate. Do y'all understand me? Now, I thank y'all for joining me for my wine and wisdom, but I want y'all to jump on this phone call with me because we've got to cultivate our empowerment. We've got to establish effective communication with our mates, especially if there's children involved. And we have to focus on our own self-development and getting back to the original self that we've lost while we were attempting to love with our whole being and not receiving the same reciprocity in return. Okay. So thank y'all for joining me tonight for another segment of Wine and Wisdom, where we sip and savor and elevate our minds. I am Dr. East. I have enjoyed giving y'all a nugget tonight and vibing with y'all. Take this shit seriously. It's time out for the nonsense, and it's time for us to step up and step out into the light, ladies. Y'all be safe and be blessed, and I'll see y'all again next week. Bye.